Today I'm going to be taking a look at yet another awful, atrocious show that I have never seen before, Rocket Monkeys. Now, I've genuinely heard nothing about this show. The one little inkling of idea that I've been given about this show is that Mr. Enter compared it to Fanboy and Chum Chum, calling it 2D Fanboy and Chum Chum. And that hits me like a dagger in the heart. It makes me scared. It makes me frightened. I just sit there like, well, I guess I'm afraid. I've lived a bad life, and it's all led to this moment where I have to watch more slop for your entertainment. I'm going to be taking a look at 6 episodes, some of the best, some of the worst, and some random episodes to see, was Rocket Monkeys truly that awful, or perhaps is it a hidden gem? And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload almost every single day. You don't want to miss it. If the content here on YouTube just isn't enough for you, I got plenty of bonus content on the Patreon, and if you want to discuss shows, movies, and games with like-minded people, my Discord will also be in the description. Now let's finally take a look at Rocket Monkeys. Taking a look at one of the worst episodes in the series, I Am Not a Banana. There are some major problems with this episode, but overall it's really not that bad. I will say the characters are very annoying. The best way I could describe listening to them talk, because they're both similar personalities, but opposite at the same time, and they're both annoying with their stupid ass banter. The best way that I could describe it, imagine if you went to the zoo, all of a sudden, you're just walking like, oh, look at that rhinoceros! Wow, it's got a horn! It's beautiful! And then all of a sudden there's a bag on your head, you're getting dragged away, you're screaming for your family, perhaps your child who's just getting abandoned, and all of a sudden you wake up, it's a pitch black room, you can't hear anything, there's nothing going on. You hear a chain rattling, and all of a sudden you just hear, oh, 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 and that's all you hear for the next like 6 hours. So not only are you in a pitch black room, you're delusional, you're hallucinating, there's just a fucking chimpanzee in the corner of that room just constantly blaring you with, oh, 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 you know, stuff like that. That's kind of what it's like listening to these guys talk. I don't think they're very entertaining. Perhaps if I was a youngin', I would really like them, but at this very moment, I'm not very intrigued in what's going on with their lives. So the entire premise of the show is it's just the 2 monkeys and their little robot who's like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, yes, what are you guys doing? We must go and do the mission. We must go and do the mission and the planet. Oh, yes. That's basically the robot's entire job. He's kind of a highlight of the show. I actually think he's a lot better than the Rocket Monkeys themselves. He's kind of like a straight shooter type character. And so the monkeys, they are tasked with going to Planet Burr to get some ice. Get it? Because you say Burr when you're cold. That's a knee slapper right there. That's something we have to cherish and appreciate. So they're tasked with that, but on the way there, they see a giant banana planet, and because they're monkeys, of course, and this shit is B-A-N-A-N-A-S, bananas, this shit is bananas, of course they're going to go over to the banana. That's what they want to do, that's what they need to do. And they get there and they end up getting in a trap, and this banana man blows up their ship. He does this repeatedly over and over again, and we meet the banana villain for the episode, which, you know, villain is a little bit of a stretch. This episode doesn't really paint a very clear picture that I'm supposed to even remotely fuck with the Rocket Monkeys. Like, genuinely, they're abysmal, they're horrible people. I can't imagine even a fucking toddler watching this and being like, go Rocket Monkeys, go! Like, genuinely, what they do to this fucking banana man is just horrendous. It's unconsensual, it's borderline sensual, like they want to use him up, they want to eat him, they want to cream him, they want to do a lot of dirty things to this banana. Now, you know, they are monkeys, and, you know, it's okay that monkeys want to eat a banana, but the way that they went about showcasing this in the show is just vile, to say the least. With this banana explaining why he hates the Rocket Monkeys, he was just the average working man, working Joe, going to do his 9 to 5 to support his family, and then all of a sudden, these fucking monkeys try to eat him on repeat over and over again, and they want him so bad, and the reason they had to go and make it sexual, unconsensual, Kalos does not fuck with unconsensualism, is they get up in there, they get up in his ear, he gets a phone call, and one of the monkeys has the audacity to be like, hey, take off your peel right now. Take off your peel right now, baby. Oh, I need it.
I couldn't answer my own phone. Hello?
Take off your peel.
and then they start chasing him again. Like, they just straight up violated this man. And it's just a little bit hard of a pill to swallow, as I'm supposed to view these guys as good people. Like, I kind of want the banana to kill him. Like, genuinely, I want the banana to kill them. I would feel horrible if all of a sudden, every waking moment of my life, I had somebody whispering in my ear, "Come on, bro, take off the peel. I want to see it. Ooh." You know, it's just a little bit of sexual assault. It's a little bit of harassment, attempted murder. It's all of that just jammed into one creamy, ooey gooey pack, and it's a little bit hard to swallow, to say the least. I don't know, maybe that's why this was viewed as one of the worst episodes in the series. I did some research, and I didn't really understand it at first because it was just fine, and then it got to that banana segment, and I was like, wow, this is blasphemy. These guys are sinners, and they deserve to rot in hell for this nonsense. But either way, so the banana blows up their ship again. We keep getting that gag over and over again where the robot keeps having to fix it. And then eventually, the banana, he tries to feed the monkeys a bunch of bananas because he believes that if he gives them obesity, they will pop. And this entire sequence just wasn't very well done because they just eat the bananas and then all of a sudden they get out of this well-thought trap and they're very annoying. So he ties them all to a banana rocket, which also backfires because then they just go to the planet Burr instead, and the Banana Man is defeated. I don't know. It was just kind of all over the place. It definitely wasn't that bad. It's just the characters are annoying, and I didn't really want to root for them because they just sexually assaulted a banana real good. So that was kind of its only downfall. But I won't say that it wasn't entertaining. It's definitely better than Fanboy and Chum Chum, Mr. Enter, I gotta say. Never watched a Mr. Enter video, but if he fucking thinks that this is comparable to Fanboy and Chum Chum, granted I'm only on episode 1, I gotta disagree with that. It's miles better than Fanboy and Chum Chum. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it like a 5. It's just average. It does nothing really that good. It doesn't do anything inherently bad. At least there isn't like a character wiping his ass on the floor. But, you know, it's just fine. Taking a look at the episode Princess Nefarious, which is said to be one of the best episodes in the series, which I just despised. I thought this was atrocious. I thought this was awful. I thought, like, it's like they have an interesting premise and then they just want to do everything possible to shy away from it. And guess what? The best part of this entire episode, hold your applause, are you holding, is robot sex! Yeah, that's the best part of the entire episode. It's dirty, stinky coitus between robots. And you're probably thinking, what? But this is a kid show. They don't even try to sugarcoat what the robots be doing in this episode. They meet right away, and because they're both dirty, stinky fuckboy and whore, they just immediately canoodle in just dirty and vile ways. Do they show it? Not necessarily, but all the hints are there, and that is the reason that I assume that this is rated as one of the best episodes in the series, because, you know, there were probably a bunch of people who were older who went to check out the show to see why it was so hated, and then they see this episode and they're like, hey, the robots are fucking, you know? Like, at least that's what I imagine personally. So this episode opens with them blowing off each other's skin. I'm not gonna elaborate more on that. He gets blown, not in a sensual way, and all his skin falls off. And they're doing this thing for badges, and one of the badges they need is to rescue a princess. And it just so happens that Dr. Nefarious, he is dressing up as a princess so that he could get rescued. And then there's this really, really weird scene where they're trying to figure out this whole princess fiasco. They're trying to figure that all out. And there's a little princess frog, and if you kiss the frog, it's supposed to turn back to normal. So one of the rocket monkeys, they walk up, they're like, mwah, a good old-fashioned peck for ya, and just what the fuck, because it turns out that it's a male frog, like pretending and posing as a woman, just drag queening it up so that he could get smooches. So this show is a big fan of non-consent. The rocket monkey did not know that it was kissing a man, but the man, he leaves, and it's alright, I guess. They're just fine with it. Nobody cares about who this frog is posing as a woman to get kisses from men. Interesting concept. But alright. So they then go to the planet where Dr. Nefarious is pretending to be a princess so that they could try and save her. And Dr. Nefarious has a female robot, which is a weird thing to say out loud, as a little helper. And the second that the Rocket Monkey's robot sees this robot, he straight up ejaculates everywhere, and they hide it in robot ways, where he like hits a slot machine with his eyes with hearts, but then he just starts spewing out coins, a golden shower, you could call it. And the female robot, she's just eating it up. She's like acting like she's bathing in the divine liquid, which, just looks really weird to me. I was not a fan of that. And then the robots, literally, there is a scene where you watch them asking each other if they want to interlink, and then they stretch their things up, and one is a plug, one is male and female here, and they just go like that, and then they start going, yes, this is exactly what I needed to bust. Like, that's a little bit weird for me. And that's like the main highlights of the episode, just because it's so odd. And just in case you want to know what's going on with the Rocket Monkeys and the princess, because that's supposed to be the more interesting plot line, right? That's supposed to be way more fun, way more interesting. It's supposed to keep you invested, right? Well, there's this brilliant scene where, you have a bunch of adults, and they're trying to think about what a kid would laugh at, and they're like, kids don't think girls can rip ass. Kids don't think girls can have a big, stinky, wet one come out. Let's have Princess Nefarious climb up a ladder and just fart.
Mine! Princess first! Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, that's their thrilling comedy for what's going on with the Rocket Monkeys here. Yep, it's great. There's a bunch of shenanigans where they build a ladder, and then the ladder doesn't work, and then they fall on the ladder, and then they randomly go to a restaurant, and then the chef tries to eat them at the restaurant, so they run away from the chef, and then the chef falls off the ladder, and then they fall off the ladder, and then Nefarious just reveals that he's a supervillain for no fucking reason, immediately giving up on his princess plan. So you just have to question, what was this all for? What are we doing here? What is the point? What is the meaning of life? All of those great questions. Don't really know. And we just get more robot sex. There's literally a scene where they climb out of a crater, and one of them is wearing a bathrobe, so it implies what they were doing in there. And then they go home, and the robot literally asks for some privacy and some alone time if you catch his drift. And he actually says, if you catch my drift. So yes, the main highlight of this episode is the fact that robots were getting dirty, freaky, and nasty with each other, and they weren't even trying to sugarcoat it. Like, it's not like Shrek. I mean, if you haven't watched Shrek in a while, go back and watch Shrek and see how many times they're just talking about fucking like dick and having sex. It is crazy. It's like every 2 minutes is a different adult joke, and it actually makes Shrek way more enjoyable. Like, as a kid, you never notice it, and I guess maybe that's the point here. You wouldn't think the robots are doing dirty, nasty coitus, but if you watch Shrek, man, it is just blatant what's going on in so many different scenes there, but it's pretty interesting. So if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it, I don't know, solid 4. The main plot line was just awful, but the robots getting dirty with each other was pretty interesting, so I guess that ranks it a little bit higher. The next episode that I took a look at, which is also said to be one of the worst, is Scare Larious. And this one definitely isn't devoid of problems, but it's really also not that bad. Again, the monkeys are very annoying, but the major highlight is the robot here. The monkeys, they just keep trying to scare each other. Specifically in the beginning, I still don't know the monkeys' names. I just know it's Monkey 1, Monkey 2. So Monkey 1, he gets scared brutally, and he starts like having a manic episode. He's like, just starts freaking out, running around, running everywhere. He runs into a spike wall. He gets hit by a bus. All that shenanigans, and visually it was a lot of fun. It was a fun physical gag. I was all for it. And so he decides that he needs to get the other monkey back, so he wears a mask, and that one monkey, he's sitting in the mirror like, right, looking so damn sexy in the mirror, I'm gonna look so good, oh yeah. And then the other monkey jumps out with a mask, and he gets scared, so he squirts toothpaste up into his eyes, and he says, oh my god, it's so minty. That's a knee slapper right there. That was pretty god dang fucking funny. Great. So they keep scaring each other, and we get a bunch of physical gags. And then the robot, he wants to be a rocket monkey really bad, so and he's not feeling included. So he's like, scaring, right? And he pulls out like this little kitten, and he's like, isn't this kitten quite terrifying? And they disagree. So the robot has to try and find brand new ways to scare them, and they keep trying to scare the robot, and nothing's working. So the robot goes to this planet where he finds this giant snot creature. Great. Nothing better in a cartoon than guzzly snot being squirted everywhere. What's better than that? So this giant creature, it's running around the Rocket Monkey ship, and it's just squirting its snot everywhere. And that's the main thing that's supposed to get you laughing, down on the floor, having a great time. Just snot here, while the Rocket Monkeys are like, oh God, well. You know, just struggling immensely. And there's this great scene where they're running away from the bug. It's just so unbelievably thrilling. Like not only do I have to just be enticed by all this luscious ooey gooey snot, one of the monkeys runs into the toilet, and he just looks like, well, a royal flush. He's just staring at it as it's full of poop, just full of great stinky amounts of shit. And he's just complaining that nobody is flushing this vile, decrepit nonsense down. And so the snot monster gets in there, and he's like, oh, right. And he just gets in the toilet covered in poop and filth and just squirts himself down the toilet with it. That's a great scene. That was wonderful. I'm glad that they thought of that, you know. A lot of people getting paid to make this show, and you just gotta put the monkey in the toilet with the feces, because monkeys love poop. Yep, that was great. So, the big climax, the big way that they're gonna solve this silly little problem, this silly little inkling, this thing that's gonna be affecting them for a very long time, is child abuse!
You know he needs more discipline. Spare the web, spoil the spider.
Yes! Let's bring back the snot-nosed monster creature. Let's bring some child abuse back into his life. And he reacted negatively. And if this is a full-grown monster, then we definitely just brought on some trauma here. The monkeys, they decide to dress up as the monster's parents. Okay? One is the female, one's the male. And the mom gets very mad at the snot-nosed creature, like, why didn't you do your homework? And the dad gets home, fucking rips off the belt, and is just getting ready for some abuse, so the snot-nosed monster gets away. So that is genuinely what Rocket Monkeys is promoting here. What is better? You have a terrifying monster up in your crib? There is only one solution. We need to bring out the trauma. Yes! This monster probably got beat by his father as a child, you know? Probably walked into a room, he had his boobs up, he was ready to show his father that he had turned into a man, and his father grabbed both of his nipples and just cranked them. That's probably what happened. It was terrible, it was awful, and just seeing the Rocket Monkeys take out that belt, it brought a whole new level of fear. Rocket Monkeys, what are you trying to showcase to children nowadays? That the best way to get rid of a bully is to dress up as that bully's parents and beat him with a belt? That's a little bit fucking weird. Just saying. Yeah, this episode was fine. It was just okay. I don't know, there were some things I didn't like. I don't really think snot and getting into a poop feces filled toilet is really my cup of tea. I don't think even growing up I would have liked that. I mean, I don't think anybody I know would have liked that. There's only a specific amount of people that are like, ooh, feces! You know, like, it's just not my favorite. So if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give this one a 4 out of 10. It didn't do anything that great. It just was a lot of snot. And that was it for a while. I did like the beginning of it a lot more, where they were just trying to scare each other and the robot didn't really understand the process of scaring. That was a lot more fun. It's just when they decided to create the monster, which could have been really cool and really fun, but they decided to make his main thing just, you know, producing that ooey gooey licious snot, then you lose me a little bit. Just saying, just throwing that out there. The next episode that I took a look at was Home on the Strange, and I'm starting to understand the fanboy and Chum Chum comparisons. Pretend that this is a rocket monkey's head. I can just, because they're very annoying, like to a alarming degree, how annoying and freaky and weird they are. I don't know why people just assume that loud is funny, but it pisses me off. So this episode is all about Wild West shenanigans. It initially starts off with them just having fun, doing some lassoing, just minding their own business, and then we get to the first weird thing where one of the monkeys is dressed up as a cow and he's wearing a cow suit and he has udders and he sprays out a white liquid, which leads me to one, a pretty important question. If he's not a cow and he sprayed a white liquid, it can only be one thing. It had to be semen!
Yeah, not cool. Though I do like this thing.
So yeah, that's a little bit concerning. And then he tries to brand him by putting the super hot steak into his body, and that stops because they get a mission where they have to go and guide all of these creatures to another creature so that they can be eaten, which is very weird to say the least. It's a very weird concept, and it doesn't help that every single creature is just a fart goblin, a fart monster. That's literally their main character trait. They have these, hoses attached to their body that just is constantly ripping ass. Yep, they thought that was unbelievably hilarious. So, the rocket monkeys are there, and they get there, and for a solid 30 seconds, they just are staring at each other, just prepping themselves by saying yeehaw.
Yeehaw! 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 Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
And they're just like, yeehaw. And that's where I had my first moment of realization that my mind was starting to deteriorate and I was starting to think of Fanboy and Chum Chum again, because holy shit, why can't you just do something entertaining instead of the two characters sitting there going, yeehaw? Come on, man. So they fart for a while, and there's a lot of shenanigans that involve them farting and just dealing with the fart creatures. That goes on for a while. There's a fart montage. It's unbelievably great. And so they eventually get them all to this planet, and they start getting eaten. But the rocket monkeys, they formed a bond with one of them, so they decide to take it with them. Which causes a lot of problems because apparently the giant monster is supposed to eat them and then poop really violently so all the plant life can grow, which is just great, wonderful. And so the one creature tries to leave because it just craves death because it wants to be with its family and going and dying, which is great for him. So they get there, and then one of the rocket monkeys gets eaten, but he has hot sauce, so the big fat monster dies. Great. And so the episode ends beautifully with the rocket monkeys now having the responsibility of shitting to keep the ecosystem alive. So they just take a violent, unbelievable poop. And that's pretty much the entire episode. And I'm just not a fan of it, at all. If you want to understand the thrilling comedy that they come up with when it doesn't revolve around farting, there's one brilliant scene where one of the characters is doing something that he's not supposed to do typically. So one of the characters says, it's a unwritten rule that you're not supposed to do that. And then he pulls out a book and says, it's written right here. God, that's like some Butch Hartman comedy. That was just abysmal. That was so bad. I don't understand how people could think of this and think that anybody would enjoy this. Yeah, for one of the best episodes, this is getting a 3 out of 10. This was just so unbelievably awful. Taking a look at 2 episodes. These are both random episodes, and they were both unbelievably slopped that I watched them both at the same time. The reason I'm doing 2 episodes here is because I watched this episode, Bro or Joel, and it was so underwhelming that I was like, wow, I could probably say about 5 things about this episode, so maybe I should go on to the next episode and watch that too. Because Bro or Joel literally just takes, the most common trope you could ever imagine, oh, my best friend doesn't like me because there's somebody cool, and just does it worse than every other show imaginable. It was just so unbelievably underwhelming, where one of the rocket monkeys, he gets really infatuated with this guy named Joel, and he is just a robot guy. He kind of looks like Elvis, and he's like, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. Look at my nipples, look at my pulsating nipples, look at my pulsating nipples, I'm Elvis. That's basically all he does, and he can swim better, he can play basketball, it doesn't even matter, it's all slop, it's all boring, and he is created by this one guy who wants this squid who could make really cool paintings. So the robot, Elvis, is there to steal that squid, and the main highlight of the episode is that the guy who built the robot, he lives with his mom. There's a bunch of like mom jokes where he's like, Princess, I'm going to steal that squid, Princess, and I'm going to become famous on my Discord and on my Reddit. All my moderator friends are going to like me, Princess. And then his mom talks to him and he's like, stupid mom, she doesn't know anything, just let me work. You know, he just does that. That's literally the only highlight of the episode. Everything else is just slop. Eventually they find out the Elvis dude is basically a robot and they chase him around, and then he's stopped by hitting a door, and their robot, the Rocket Monkey's robot, turns into a dog and starts eating him. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. It's all stupid. It's all a waste of time. Not a fan of it. So we then go to the next episode, which is There Is No Business Like Monkey Business, and they were just like, oh, you know what's really fun? You know what's really entertaining? You know what gets the people up? You know what gets them jive and dancing? Torture episodes. It's genuinely like they watched like 7 Squidward torture episodes from SpongeBob. You know, the episodes that are infamously hated because so many people despise the incentive that, oh man, this guy, he's just trying to mind his own business. He deserves to fucking die. And in this case, it's that banana guy from one of the other episodes that I talked about, who again has done nothing wrong. He's just trying to expose that the Rocket Monkeys are always not helping anybody, and they don't help their case because in the episode they just continuously abuse random people thinking that they're helping and keep making people's lives worse. It's just stupid. And eventually the banana man, the Rocket Monkeys, thrust him into a tree and he breaks all of the bones in his body. So the Rocket Monkeys, they decide that they're gonna look after him. Okay, they're gonna help him to feel better. It's all gonna be good. No, we just get so many scenes where just over and over again they pour really hot soup all over his body while he's screaming in agony. They start trying to eat him. They zap him with torture lasers. They get him hit by a satellite, and he's just getting beat and pulverized for no reason. I love torture episodes when the character getting tortured deserves it. Like, let's say he, I don't know, did something awful to a baby, something you should never even remotely think about, and then you're like ripping off his fingernails, then I'm all for it. But in this case, he's just trying to expose the Rocket Monkeys for the little bitches that they already are, and he's just getting the brunt force torture of it, and it makes no sense. It has to be worth it, because the Rocket Monkeys, they're not good heroes, and I don't want to cheer for them. I don't like them. I'm not a fan of them. So, yeah, that's not fun. I don't like watching this character get a thermometer shoved up his ass for no reason. Just not my cup of tea. So if I was to rate both of these episodes 1 to 10, I would give both of these 2 out of 10s. They're just awful, atrocious. Like, it was genuinely so bad that I had to combine it into one segment. I was not going to give an entire segment to each of these episodes because it made no sense. It was just stupid to do that because these both have barely any talking points, genuinely. So there you have it. Those are my main thoughts on Rocket Monkeys. The thing that I notice mainly about this show is the more you watch it, the more insane you start to get. And obviously, as always in these videos, I'm typically not the target audience. But that doesn't matter because they don't set up any other jokes, and the jokes that they do set up are usually just extremely poorly told. And then you have the main characters, which their entire basis for existing is just to be completely and utterly annoying, which, you know, just completely takes you out of it when you're trying to enjoy an episode when the characters would rather sit there going, yeah. It makes you a little bit angry and you don't really want to sit there. I could definitely see the comparison that Mr. Enter made to Fanboy and Chum Chum, where there wasn't really a focus on the plot line, a focus on the jokes. It's more of a focus on the fact that the characters are extremely annoying, and annoying equals funny, which is just a really stupid concept, especially when creating a cartoon, because the reason I make these videos is to find cartoons that are like some of the classics, like Regular Show, like Adventure Time, like OG SpongeBob, where I could watch those and no matter the age, it typically gets better, you know? Like, I could just, the Rock, fuck, see, the Rocket Monkeys have given me the fucking monkey plague, the monkey plague. See, it's a bit of a problem. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of really good cartoons out there that are well told, that are thought, that have so much thought poured into it that it can be appealing to all ages. And when you make something like this that is just for a target audience of the most brain-rotted child ever, I don't think you're letting them experience really good stuff. Like, if this was on, I would be extremely disappointed as a kid. I want them to have good options. I want them to have good shows that are well thought out, that if a parent walks in, they're like, what are you watching, son? Is it good? And they can just go, that's funny. I'm glad that they're still showing children some good shows. Like, that's what I hope for. every single time. But this slop, I wouldn't even want, I don't know, Elon Musk's kids to watch this, and I fucking hate Elon Musk. So that's very telling. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, lots of content. You know how it is. All right, get out of here, you crazy kids. Go and eat some lunch. Go and eat some stuff. Drink water. Do all that good stuff.